Thanks for stopping by the channel. As always, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure that you check out the bell icon and you're getting notifications for when my content comes up. Got a couple of really interesting quick takes for you today in this video. The first one I want to touch on is very personal to me. I have an acquaintance. I'm not going to name this individual, and I'm not going to talk about the particulars, the totality of their situation, but this person happens to be a governmental employee, and they have won a huge case, They have been under the gun for participating in political activities and rallies. They spent a lot of time fighting this. And I was just told today, at the time of this recording, it's Thursday, April 1st. It's not an April Fool's joke, ladies and gentlemen. This is 100% accurate. This individual won. Their employer lost the case. Their employer has lost the case and has been, had their situational hands slapped and told to back off. And that's huge. So the last quick take I did, I was about Merriweather versus Shawnee State, and Professor Merriweather, with the help of the Alliance Defending Freedom, won that in the Sixth Circuit Court. Here's another one breaking. Like this is good news, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, courts and other individuals are starting to stand up and say, cancel culture is gone too far, has come too far, gone on too long. And so that's a huge win. Very, very, very big. Very, very happy for this individual, for this friend. And this friend has just been very encouraging to me with my content and other things. So I just want to let you know, friend, love you and respect you. And I'm very, very happy for you. This is amazing. And it's just good to see people standing up and fighting now. We have to do that, right? We have to do that. We have to stand up. We have to fight. We have to take the bull by the horns and say, you've come this far and you shall go no further. Or be like Gandalf, none shall pass. So anyway, the next part of the quick take I want to talk about is kind of a breaking story here in Minnesota, which of course is kind of the brunt of the information that I cover, but I cover other things as well. But here in Minnesota, we kind of have a breaking story going on. There is a bit of a court battle that is going to take place before this video airs. But I want to talk about a little bit around the circumstances of this particular court fight. There are different businesses in the state of Minnesota that are challenging the governor and fighting the governor on his unconstitutional executive orders, right? It's just the facts. Speaking from a studied and versed opinion, factually addressing things like the separation of powers, addressing legislative powers versus executive branch powers and how those things work, especially here in the state of Minnesota. According to the Constitution and according to state statutes, we have some things at play. So we have some business owners, some small business owners that are fighting some court battles, both civil and legal. And a particular case here in southern Minnesota, we are seeing, strangely enough, shall we say, two people within the legal system are coming at loggerheads with one another. And one of them is actually appealing to a judge to hold the other in contempt because the other is taking a stand and saying, we're going to be very careful on how we execute our authority and execute our responsibilities, because we want to make sure that we're not holding the public to a higher standard over certain aspects of the court's authority. And so one of these individuals is trying to have a judge hold another individual in contempt. And this individual is within the legal structure and is executing the duties of their office legally. This could be a very big precedence for people in law enforcement and within the legal system if a judge could step in at the behest of another person and hold somebody within the criminal justice system in contempt for how they're executing the duties of their job. And this is something we have to pay attention to, because here's what's happening, right? People on the left in positions of authority and positions of power are using their authority and their power to fight people who are constitutionally minded, right? People who are oath takers. And make no mistake, everybody in public service, anybody who works for a government body is in some way, shape, or form an oath taker. I'm not talking about the oath keepers, the organizational group that's deemed radical. I'm talking about oath takers. And so it's not up to every individual to interpret the laws for themselves, but they do have a duty to look at a law or look at a situation and say, what's happening here constitutionally? Is what's happening here in keeping with the scope and the breadth of the Constitution, whether it be at the federal level or at the state level? And am I obligated to act in this particular situation? And if I am obligated to act, how am I obligated to act? And so what the left likes to do is they like to use their very leftist Marxist mindset on how you interpret law, and they like to use it as a battering ram against anybody who doesn't agree with them or stands up to them. And that's where the problem lies. And that's why this individual is in this fight now. This person's broke no laws. This person has done nothing wrong, but now they could be held in contempt if this other individual, who's very much a leftist, very much a Marxist, is able to convince a judge through an argument that this person should be held in contempt. Now, that it raises up a whole other, set of circumstances. It reminds me of the scene from Tombstone where Wyatt Earp and his brothers go to the OK Corral with Doc Holliday, and they have the showdown with the cowboys, and Sheriff Behan hides while the criminals open fire on the law enforcement officers. And Behan comes out after the firefight is over, and the Earp brothers and Doc Holliday have won the fight, and everybody's familiar with OK Corral. They win the fight, and Behan comes out and he says, "I'm placing you men under arrest." And Wyatt Earp looks at Behan and goes, "I don't think I'm going to allow you to arrest me today, Behan." And they just walk off. And that's kind of where we're at. And so as this breaks down, I'm going to be watching the interaction in courts today on Zoom. And when I find out how that goes, I'll do another quick take on this. But so good news for on top of the Shawnee State, the Meriwether versus Shawnee State news that I broke in my last quick take, and then for this acquaintance in person that I have a lot of respect and admiration for, having won their case. There's this other case now that's going on. So we have to really pay attention, stay focal, stay focused, and make sure that you are pulling for people who are standing their ground on First Amendment activities very much, right? Make sure you're supporting them. This stuff is huge. So until next time, as always, Sic Semper Tyrannis.